Okay, this is The Ghost Grave by Peg Carrot, Chapter 4. Which direction is the treehouse? I asked when I had finished writing my second letter. Aunt Ethel pointed. There used to be a path, she said, but it's overgrown now. Wear long pants in the woods. The berry vines grab your legs. There's a compass hanging on the back porch. Take it along. It's easy to get turned around in the trees until you learn your way. I changed into jeans, then went out the kitchen door. A small compass on a shoelace dangled from a nail. I put the looped shoelace over my head, wondering who had worn it last and how long ago. Mom had worried about me being in the woods alone this summer and had suggested buying me a cell phone. Stephen had said it would be a waste of money. There's no cell service out there. At the time, I thought it was an excuse not to get me a phone, but as I looked around at the unspoiled forest, I knew he was right. There was no point building a cellular tower in a place where hardly anyone lived. Add cellular phone service to the long list of things Carbon City doesn't have. I headed into the grove of trees behind Aunt Ethel's house. Stephen had told me Aunt Ethel owned about 50 acres, which sounded like a lot. Maybe I'd see deer or squirrels. I planned to search for the old tree house. If I found it, I intended to carry some of my books out there. A tree house would be the perfect place to read, far from Aunt Florence's screams. I glanced back at the house. It had seemed so gloomy last night, but now the sunshine gave it a cheerful look despite its peeling paint. Bright yellow daisies bloomed along the foundation, and white petals drifted down from a large flowering tree near the back door. As the woods closed behind me, I noted I was headed east. No matter how peaceful the woods were, or how much wildlife I spotted, I wanted to be sure I could find my way out. I picked my way through the undergrowth, inhaling the smell of fir and cedar. I wished Aunt Ethel had a dog. This would be the perfect place for a dog to run, sniffing at the fallen trees, searching out rabbits or mice to chase. Charlie would have loved it here. In my imagination, I saw Charlie's short, dashing legs scrambling through the bushes, his nose leading the way to adventure. I'm going to stop right there. Dashing would be a great word to add in a vocabulary list in our reading journal. I won't do that now, but in class we will. You were a good dog, Charlie. I thought, the best dog ever. I miss you. Why did Charlie have to get mouth cancer when he was only 9 years old? I snipped off the thought before it could grow. Mom had said, remember the happy times with Charlie and forget the end of the story. The only way to survive the loss of someone you love is to remember the good times. With my thoughts on Charlie, I forgot to watch for deer. The sudden snap of a branch breaking startled me, and I glanced toward the sound. A beautiful doe stood about 10 yards away, watching me. We looked at each other for a few seconds. Then the deer bounded off, flashing her black tail. 10 minutes later, I spotted the treehouse. I had expected a rickety platform balanced in the branches of a large tree, but I found a sturdy wooden structure enclosed on all four sides with a sloping roof of corrugated tin. That's another really great vocabulary word. It wasn't literally a tree house because it wasn't attached to a tree. It rested on 4 unpeeled logs, each about 8 inches in diameter, set in concrete. The building stood 10 feet off the ground, completely surrounded by huge fir trees. A wooden ladder leaned against the narrow platform outside the treehouse door. I stood on the bottom rung of the ladder, testing it. Then I climbed quickly to the platform and pushed open the door. The treehouse was 8 feet square, with windows on 3 sides. Not glass windows, but rectangles cut from the walls with shutters that closed to keep the rain out. I imagined a young Aunt Ethel and her sister silently gazing out the window while they waited for deer. Dry leaves crunched underfoot on the floor, and cobwebs crisscrossed the window openings. A small makeshift table built of 4 pieces of log and a plank squatted in one corner. I liked the treehouse. After I gave it a thorough sweeping and brought out a chair, it would be a perfect spot to read and listen to music. Maybe I would bring lunch here too, or at least a snack to eat while I watched for wildlife. I hurried back to the house for a broom and a damp rag to clean the table. Aunt Ethel, pleased I had found the treehouse, gave me an oversized pillow to take there for the summer. "It's the same pillow Stephen used in the treehouse," she said. I swept and scrubbed, then went back for some cheese and crackers and my box of books. With all 3 windows open, the treehouse had plenty of light to read by. I sank onto the pillow and opened a book. I was deep into a mystery novel when a faint sound caught my attention. Another deer? I put down my book, moved quietly to the window, and peered out. I waited, listening, my eyes scanning the trees for movement. Meow. I looked toward the sound. A scrawny cat sat in the woods, its brown and tan striped fur blending into the background. "Hello, kitty." The startled cat hurried away. I broke off a piece of cheese and dropped it out the window. I waited. Soon the cat returned, moving cautiously. He sniffled the cheese, then gulped it down. I tossed out another piece. The cat backed away from the treehouse, looking up at the window. When I remained still, the cat edged forward again and gobbled up the cheese. The poor thing is starving, I thought. I broke the rest of my cheese into pieces and dropped them to the ground. The cat ate it all, then looked up as if